Long before the world knew them as symbols of loss, the Twin Towers were conceived as monuments of ambition. Rising from the heart of Lower Manhattan, they were imagined as gateways to the future, steel and glass stretching so boldly into the sky that even New Yorkers stopped to stare. For decades, they stood as declarations of human possibility, reflecting the morning sun like colossal mirrors. People from across the world worked within them, visited them, or simply admired them from afar. But in the shadows of their tremendous height lay the darker currents of a world increasingly marked by tension, conflict, and unseen danger. The story of that darkness did not begin on September 11th. It brewed quietly for years, taking shape in distant deserts, political decisions, and complex resentments. Most people who passed through the World Trade Center, a bustling 50,000-person vertical city, had no idea that the towers they walked through so casually were already etched into someone else's grim plans. On the morning of September 11, 2001, New York City awoke as it always did. Horns, vendors, the rumble of the subway echoing beneath the streets. The sky was an impossible blue, clear enough to reflect on the glass of every skyscraper. Thousands arrived at work in the Twin Towers, riding elevators to offices high above the city. For them, it was Tuesday, ordinary, unremarkable, a day like any other. At 8:46 a.m., the sound that shattered the city was unlike anything New Yorkers had ever heard. A commercial airplane, American Airlines Flight 11, tore into the North Tower in a surge of flame, metal, and shock. People on the ground froze. Some thought it was an accident, an unimaginable one, but an accident nonetheless. Smoke billowed upward, staining the sky with ash as flaming paper fluttered through the streets like blackened snow. In the South Tower, office workers pressed against windows, looking toward the burning North Tower. Among them were strangers who would soon share acts of courage and moments of fear. Some began evacuating immediately. Others waited, believing instructions that their tower was safe. No one yet understood the scale of the catastrophe unfolding. At 9:03 a.m., the second plane, United Airlines Flight 175, struck the South Tower with violent precision. The blast rippled through the structure, and the truth that this was no accident settled like a stone in every heart that witnessed it. Panic moved like a wave across the city. Yet amid the chaos, something else rose too: heroism. Firefighters rushed into the burning towers, running upward while thousands came down. Police officers cleared streets and ushered people to safety. Strangers carried strangers. Some stayed behind to help those who couldn't escape on their own. Inside the towers, the world narrowed to smoke-filled stairwells and dim hallways. People held on to one another, whispering encouragement, praying, or simply walking in silence. Some made phone calls, final messages of love and hope that would echo in the memories of families forever. Others made split-second decisions that determined the course of their fate, turning left instead of right, trying one staircase instead of another. Outside, the city watched in horror. Millions of eyes across the world were fixed on the burning towers as news stations broadcast the scenes live. What had once been symbols of power and prosperity were becoming monuments of vulnerability, fragile in the face of hatred and destruction. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower began to collapse. It fell in on itself in less than 10 seconds, a thunderous implosion that sent a wall of dust roaring through the streets like a tidal wave. People ran blindly as the sky turned black with debris. For a moment it felt as if time had stopped, an entire tower erased from the skyline in a breath. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower followed, crashing down with the weight of countless lives and decades of history. Both towers were gone. Where they had once stood, there remained only smoke, twisted steel, and a grief so immense it seemed to swallow the city whole. The immediate aftermath was a world of ash. Paper from shattered offices drifted across the Hudson River. Firefighters, faces gray with dust, searched through ruins that glowed with lingering heat. Families gathered at hospitals and emergency centers, clinging to hope that slowly, painfully dissolved into heartbreak. But even in the darkest hours, light emerged. The courage seen that day became woven into the story of the Twin Towers. People who escaped carried the memory of those who didn't. First responders bore the scars of their bravery. The city, wounded but unbroken, held tightly to the vow that it would rise again. In the weeks and months that followed, the debris was cleared, but the emptiness remained. New Yorkers glanced at the skyline and felt a jolt of loss, two missing pillars that had once framed their view. The site became a place of flowers, photographs, letters, and tears. The towers, though gone, were now more present than ever in the hearts of millions. Years later, the memorial pools would mirror the footprints of the Twin Towers, deep wells where water flowed endlessly, symbolizing both absence and continuity. Nearby, the new One World Trade Center rose from the dust, a tower designed not just as architecture, but as testament to resilience. The story of the Twin Towers is dark, yes, marked by violence, sorrow, and a world forever changed, but it is also a story of unity, bravery, and the enduring power of memory. The darkness did not erase their meaning, it reshaped it. The towers became symbols not only of what fell, but of what people stood for in the face of unimaginable tragedy. And in that way, the spirit of the Twin Towers continues, reflected not in steel or height, but in the people who remember, rebuild, and choose hope even after the darkest of days.